You're listening to the Public Health Entrepreneurs Podcast with your host, Dr. Charlotte Huntley. Greetings, everyone, and thank you for joining me on this episode. My name is Dr. Charlotte Huntley, and I'm a public health entrepreneur with over 20 years of experience in both public health and healthcare. And I've helped a lot of entrepreneurs along the way. On this podcast, we explore topics of interest for public health professionals who are at this intersection of public health and entrepreneurship. So I'm excited that you've decided to join me for this particular episode. We're going to talk about a little bit more of this support. I mentioned in the previous episode that I'm like the ultimate cheerleader. I think if you come to this podcast, you'll get tidbits, insightful little bits that you can use to help you in developing and growing your business. And they're all packaged in these sort of cheerleader moments because I want to support you and encourage you. I get really excited to meet new entrepreneurs or established entrepreneurs in public health and just learn what other people are doing and get excited to know of the creative ways that we are all looking to advance public health. So this episode, we're going to talk a little bit more about kind of inspiration and self-care. Can never have too much of this in public health. We know the importance of self-care for other people, but we're not as good about that when it's us, when we need to provide that for ourselves. So also, as I've been talking about maintaining this positive mindset, which is like a growth mindset for your business, is really important. So part of that, your positive outlook, again, it doesn't mean that you're happy every day all the time. You never have a sad moment. You're never discouraged or any of those things. It just simply means that you're choosing through the lens. Your lens is going to help you to see the positive of whatever the situation is. Even if it feels like a failure or a loss, you're going to see there's something positive you can take from that experience to move you forward, to refocus yourself on your vision and your goals, right? So sometimes this is easier to do than others. But I think as a part of that, there's two things I kind of want to lean into. One is inspiration. So I encourage you to seek out inspiration and support. Now, I'm also at the end of this episode, I'm going to share with you about our Mastermind program. And I spent a whole episode on it just a few episodes back talking about what is the Public Health Mastermind or what is a Mastermind program? And I talked a lot about our Mastermind program. So go back to that episode if you've not heard it yet. It is episode number 12. So we're right now recording 16. So just a few back, episode number 12. And it will give you so much information about our Mastermind program. But under this seek inspiration and support, even if you're not in our Mastermind program, being in a Mastermind program can be a great way for you to get the inspiration and the support that you need ongoing, kind of connected into a lifeline. Surround yourself with supportive network of your peers, folks that understand the journey that you're on. Maybe they've been on it, or maybe they're a little further on the path than you are, and that can serve as an inspiration. But they understand that you're creating something and you're building something, and it's creative, it's scientific at the same time, and you're figuring it all out. You need to be around people that can understand that and encourage you and be supportive for you. This could include mentors, your fellow public health entrepreneurs and professionals. All of that can be a part of the supportive network that can help provide, not only the support, but can also be inspiring for you, especially when there's a mixture of people that are a little further than you are, as well as those that are inspiring to be where you are. That's a great mix to have. Engage in regular discussions. Really share experiences. These kind of networks and connections, experiences, groups of peers work best when you're willing to be a little transparent and really share about your experiences, not just the good ones, but the ones that are not so pretty, because there's a lot to be. It can help you sift out those lessons and those experiences and really help you with moving forward, help you stay on track for what your goals are and your passion for improving health and the outcome and the impact that you really want to have. I think these finds can be challenging, just finding the right people. And sometimes the support system that you start out with can only get you to a certain point. Then you need to kind of get connected to a different group of people that are at a different level and a different point. So sometimes that the group you start out with is not the group that takes you all the way through. So that's okay too, just being aware of that. But it is important to really with intention, seek out that supportive group and also those points and those people that inspire you. That's important. Moments and places and examples of inspiration are just really vital for you on this journey for all the things that you will face, good and bad, but it's something you want to, I would say almost like a non-negotiable. You can decide what your non-negotiables are, but for me, having support is vital for this journey for me. And the other thing I really want to lean into a bit is practicing self-care. I cannot say enough about this because I thought I was doing it really well at one point, and I wasn't really doing it at all. And then I started kind of practicing. I thought, oh, well, now I'm doing this. I'm going to check the box and say I'm practicing self-care. And I realized that there was so much more room to grow in this area. I encourage you. I think it's harder for us as public health professionals to really see and to be honest with ourselves about where we are with the self-care. I don't think there's too much we can do. So I think you don't have to worry about too much of taking care of yourself. So that puts a little bit into context. There's a lot of room to grow in this area. But I want to give you a few examples because this is something, like I said here, be a little bit vulnerable with you and share, what that has looked like for me. So prioritizing self-care. So I used to think exercise is a part of this. So exercise, meditation, getting involved in hobbies, spending time with your friends, all of this can be a part of self-care. So my exercise of choice has been walking. I love walking. I love hiking. So part of what, I have a regular walking routine, and part of it, I know that I'm not only physically, getting the physical exercise I need, it's giving me a mental break. It's helping me to relieve some stress. So I know I'm hitting checking all the boxes when I take my walk. I know I'm getting it all done. That's where I used to just kind of stop, and that was good. And then I needed to incorporate more. So another thing for me is I used to think that meditation was probably the next thing. I really started to set the intention and set aside time for meditation. And I'm going to be really honest. That was the hardest thing for me to do, to just sit still. How do you stop your mind from running? Like, it's hard to sit still and not have those thoughts, and go on a rabbit trail about all the things I need to be thinking about next, what I'm going to do to just quiet your mind and sit still and just meditate. That was something that took a lot of practice. It still takes practice, but I'm much better at it now. I started with, you may start with 1 minute. It's going to be the hardest 1 minute to get through if you've never done it, but it's a great reset. And then I really, over the years, have incorporated more meditation moments throughout my day. And it's become the thing that is, I see the benefit. I wish I'd started a whole lot sooner. But so that's another way that I practice self-care is having that regular time for meditation, which is spilled over into like journaling time. And it's just really, it's wonderful. So I still have my walks and my hikes and physical activity, but now I also give myself permission to get involved in more hobbies. And I say it that way because it's easy to say, I'm too busy. I have all these things to do. I don't have time for hobbies, but I really see it completely differently now. So I have a very busy business and I have a team, and I have leveraged my team. My team is wonderful. We're a small team. They're wonderful, every one of them. And everyone has their responsibilities and they own up to that. So a part of me being able to show up my best self for my team, for my clients, for all of you on both of my podcasts, and to do the things I need to do, I need to be my best self, which means I have to take care of myself before I have anything to give to my business, to my clients, to my community, to anyone else, family, all included. So once I really grasped that, I started to give myself permission for those things. I don't have to be the problem solver for everybody's problems around me, although that's what I do in my business, right? So I have to remove myself from trying to do problem solving 24/7. And so I have these regular big blocks of self-care that happen. So my exercising, my meditation time, and now I have hobbies. So it's a lot of fun. One of my hobbies right now is gardening. I know a lot of people are really, at the time this episode is coming out, that we're in the spring. And where I live, we've already got our garden started. We start right after Easter, right around, that's where the last frost. For a lot of you in colder climates, I know it's usually like after Memorial Day. It's safe to plant outside. But I've enjoyed gardening, both inside and outside garden. I have a really nice garden this year, and I'm spending some time out there watching every little incremental growth, every new leaf that pops out on every plant. I have full accountability because I'm obsessed over the garden, but it is such a wonderful hobby. I've had a small garden in the past, but I've allowed myself to really enjoy this garden in this season. And I'm sharing all of this with you because I clearly remember all the reasons. I could argue with myself about it now. Why are you out here in the garden when you should be doing XYZ project? But if I don't do these things, if I'm not taking care of myself in this way, then I'm nothing to anybody else who's looking to me. So I have prioritized that, and I've grasped that in a whole different way than I ever have before. So I literally have a work schedule, because remember, this is your business. You get to decide what your schedule looks like. So I have a half day each, I have a routine of watering in the morning, and I go through and pick weeds and so forth. Make sure it's like all pretty, but I have a half day once a week where I get to just play in the garden, and I like it. The first couple of times I practiced that, I felt very uncomfortable. Like I should be back in there doing some project work. I need to be doing all these things. But I gave myself permission that I could work a half day in the season and I get to do my hobby. So I'm saying all of this, hoping that those of you who are like on this hamster wheel in your business, you're doing all the things, you're super busy, you keep telling yourself you don't have time for that. If you don't make time for that, then you're going to hit a wall and you won't be anything for anyone anyway. So you really need to prioritize yourself. Prevention is what we do, right? So prevent all of the extra stressors and decide some regular increments of self-care that you're going to implement into your routine to take care of yourself. So again, I think it's important that you look for your peers, your groups, whether it's our mastermind or someone else's mastermind, but you need a group of peers to be fed and to be supported and to where you can be inspired. And then you need to make sure that you're practicing self-care on a higher level than whatever it is you're doing now. So I'll just leave it right there. You can say, well, no, I'm taking my walk. You heard my story. So just kind of convince yourself, have that conversation with yourself. It's really important. We need you to prioritize you a little bit higher up on this list and then the other things. Okay. I think it's important by implementing this is really going to help you maintain this positive mindset to really take care of yourself and have the outlook and be fresh and ready for all the other things that come, under all the hats that you wear and all the responsibilities that you have. All right. So as we begin to close up, I want to again remind you of our Mastermind Group Program. You can find out all about it at our website, publichealthentrepreneurs.com. When you're there, click on Mastermind from the menu, and the whole page has all of the details about our program. And I encourage you to apply because we have enrollment only 2 times a year, and we only invite people to join who have applied to the program. So apply if you're interested. If you look at our site, it looks interesting, apply. You'll get more details. We'll meet, make sure that all your questions are answered and that it's a good fit, mutually good fit. And then at that time, if you're ready to enroll, you get a chance to enroll. Enrollment will open in June. We'll onboard our new members in June for their then July through December cohort. And then we enroll our next group again in December. So enrollment only happens June and December. So we have our virtual program. We have in-person retreats. It's an incredible mastermind group program. So please check that out for yourself. And if it looks interesting. And then I'm going to ask you to help us grow the podcast, get it out to more people that are interested in the same, topics around public health entrepreneurship. You can do that by just sharing directly from the podcast app that you're listening in right now. Or you can also share our website, publichealthentrepreneurs.com, where they can then find out about the podcast and the mastermind program. And then you can also share and help us share this podcast by writing a favorable review in Apple Podcasts. You know how it is when you're getting ready to purchase something or trying to decide to do something. If the reviews are really good, then you say, okay, maybe worth trying, right? And that's what we are going for by asking for the reviews. It only takes a few moments, and we really, really appreciate that. Whichever the way that you decide to help us out, we just appreciate you helping us grow this podcast. All right, everyone. Until next time, have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you for listening. Visit publichealthentrepreneurs.com to learn more.